now to talk about. Okay?
It can be either horizontal or vertical.
Or yes, okay, can't be diagonal, yeah, doesn't matter. So if I get 4 lines through here, then I'm ready to solve. If the lines do not match the order, then I have to take an extra step. And the extra step here is find the smallest uncrossed value and remove that away from all the other uncrossed values and add it to double cross values. So let's do this here now. I can say, well, I'm going to put a line through here. So that gives me 1. I can put a line through here. That gives me 2. Okay? And I can put a line through here, which gives me 3. Now I can see people saying, well, why don't you just do a line through here and make that 4? Okay?
Just let me move it.
Alright, so I've got a line through here because you want to use the minimum amount of lines possible.
Okay, and you have to put them through zeros.
They have to cross the zeros. So don't try and force 4 lines on here. So what I'm saying here is some students here will go, well, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a solution.
But you can't do diagonals.
Can't do diagonals. But you want to do it in the minimal amount of lines possible. So you want to cross out as many zeros using one line as possible. Okay, so don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, you do get the 4 lines. But that's not the minimum amount of lines you use.
And do you want to cross out all zeros?
All zeros have to be crossed out.
Yeah, so you will do 4 lines.
Not,
no?
No.
Oh,
3.
Sorry,
3,
I can see
because
that
if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not crossing all our zeros out effectively.
there.
Yeah.
I'm using more lines than I need. So here, you want to use the minimal amount of lines as possible. And if the minimum amount of lines in this case is 3 and it's 4, then that's it, that's your answer.
Yeah.
Don't force it and do 4 because you're going to get the wrong answer.
So for like, if you're finding the maximum, would you...
You do the same thing, but we're going to look at the maximum one because there's more steps to maximum.
Oh,
Okay, so, yes?
Do you mind if I let off for it?
Sorry?
Do you mind if I let off for an example?
Yes, that should be fine. Okay, so you can see here this can be a little bit complicated because students do this all the time. They say, oh, I can get 4 lines in there easily because I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Forgetting it has to be the minimum amount of lines. Okay, so therefore, A is no longer appropriate here.
Yeah.
We have to go into B. Because B is saying to us, well, the number of lines you use does not equal the order. So we have to now look at this and find out, well, what is the smallest uncrossed value? So what's the smallest uncrossed value in this matrix?
2.
2. So we're going to take the 2 and we're going to subtract 2 away from all of the numbers that are not crossed, and we're going to add 2 to all the numbers that are double crossed. So this here is a double cross. This here is a double cross. That's what I mean by double cross. It's got 2 lines going over that number itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Who said no?
I said yup.
Is that a yeah?
Yo.
Okay, alright. So what we're going to do here, for instance, is we're going to take 2 away from here, 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 and 2 away from these ones. The ones that only have a single cross we don't touch. Okay? So if we bring this across over here then, you see that on the screen?
You're being adjusted. I can't even see behind Artie.
Alright. So all we're going to do here is we leave the 0 alone because it's a single cross. The 2 becomes a 0, the 3 becomes 1, the 3 becomes 1. Yeah. This whole line, the only change is we add 2 to that 0. Okay? This becomes 3 still, 0 and 0. Here, the only thing that changes is we add 2 to the 4, so that becomes 4. 0, 0 and 0. Here, the only thing that doesn't change is the 0. Everything else drops down by 2. So as you can see here, I've now got this extra 0 here.
Where?
Yeah, that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to force now that 4th line. Because I can't do that. I can't do 3 lines again anymore because that 0's here. So I need a 4th line. Yep, so for instance, if I did this here again, did the same thing and went 1, 2, 3, that's the minimum amount of lines, but I now need that 4th line. This 4th line now needs to come through.
Okay, and it is most effective to do it that way as opposed to...
Yeah. Alright, so basically a lot of times is if you can do it in a minimum number of lines, redo it again, use that same minimum, because you know that was the minimum you had before. I couldn't go any further. Now that extra zeros come on, well, I now have to put an extra line on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Alright, so we're now up to solving this. So I'm going to bring it over here. So we're now up to this point here. We'll rewrite it up here. Alright. So now we've got this point. It's exactly the same thing as over there with no lines in it.
Yeah.
What we do here is now this next step, which is step 4, is we need to allocate a 0 to represent a row and column. Okay, so what does that mean here? It means, well, we need to have a 0 that represents that 0 for that row and also that 0 for that column. So for instance here, this 0 here would represent the only 0 in this row. So therefore it can't represent the 0 in this column anymore. So we put a line through that. Okay. We then come across here. What 0 can I use in this case? So therefore it only represents the row, the column and the row.
Oh,
With
the
this
top
one. Okay? There's no use using this one because it has other options. Okay, so therefore that means this one here cannot be used for that row or column.
No, I just don't know what you do for one.
Right, next time we have alter, we can use either one. It doesn't really matter in this case. So we could say, well, let's use this, cross that out, and that get crossed out, so therefore now I can use this. Alternatively, we'll look at the answer afterwards, and you can see if we went the other way, you're still going to get the same answer. So you're going to get more than one solution in this case. What we do now is we match up the circled zeros with the original numbers at the start. So step 5 is match zeros circled with initial value. So in this case here, Monty's going to do breaststroke. So we've got, Monty's going to do freestyle. Monty will do freestyle of 28 seconds.
Zach will do breaststroke.
Yep, Zach breaststroke.
33.
I'm just going to go, I don't want to call it BS.
Chris.
BRS.
Right, breaststroke. What, next one?
Chris.
Yep, we'll do backstroke.
32 seconds.
$32 seconds.
And Lenny butterfly for 30 seconds.
Alright.
It's a fast butterfly.
So that looks completely different to what we did at the start.
No, no.
We didn't even have Zach as doing breaststroke. We had him as doing backstroke. So it's completely different. And eventually, if we did it the way we're doing at the start, we'd eventually get that answer, but it would have taken us a while. This here looks like it takes a while longer, but that's because you're just learning it. Okay? So because we're trying to find the minimum completion time, all we do is add those numbers together.
28.
128,
No, I just read Monty's.
123 I get.
Yeah, 8.
Yep. So the total time of 123 seconds. However, we could get another solution, and that other solution comes here. So for instance, Chris could end up doing the butterfly instead of breaststroke. So he